Hey everyone, welcome to the Withering Effect. This is episode 39, and today's date is April 5th, 2020, and I am Duds, or Duds Versus, known to the rest of the interwebs.
And I am Jimbo, also known as Jimbo Slice 23, and this week we have a guest, Gruva. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. Really nice to be here. Most people out there probably don't know who I am, so I should probably tell them a little bit about myself. I'm GruvaGuy. I used to play a bit of Java. I'm now playing mainly Bedrock, and I used to be quite well known for doing iron farms. So that's kind of me, really, in a pot. So, Jimbo, what have you been up to this week?
Well, with the whole situation going on right now, I'm trying to keep my sanity. I got two boys here, and just hoping school opens up soon, because man, it's getting kind of hectic around here with the kids, but everything's going all right for the most part. We're not sick. Everyone's healthy. But besides that, I've been playing a little bit of Bedrock. Been trying to get my hands in it a little bit. And at first,
how's that been going?
At first, I thought like there was this big difference that Java was like the king. Always had that in my head. But I played for like an hour. When I started playing, it was clearly different. And it felt different and everything. But after like an hour of playing, man, you kind of adjust and you forget what version you're even on. So it wasn't bad, but still it wasn't the same. And I think we're going to bring up some of those topics here soon enough. But besides that,
right on the main topic.
Yes. Besides that, we got a copy of Dungeons, me and Duds. So we were able to
say thank you to High Hopes 5.
Yes.
For giving us a link so we could get our copies. We played that right before podcast time.
Yeah, we played like 40 minutes or so. It's not bad. There's some issues, but I think we were trying to play together and we couldn't link up somehow. And I was thinking either it's a bad system or we're just being dumb. Here we were just being dumb and we were able to play together.
Well, I want to put out there 90% of it is we're dumb. That's just how it is. But supposedly you have to like beat the first level before you can join somebody. Yeah. Kind of like go through the little trial stage. And we didn't know that, so I kept trying to join Jimbo. And I don't like how you have to sign in with an Xbox account.
Yeah, we did have to do that.
Yeah, instead of a Mojang account. So I had an Xbox for a long time, but I haven't had one for like 8 or 9 years. So when I sign in and it remembers my Xbox account somehow, and it's pulling up this old screen name from God knows when, I'm just like, wait, what? That's not me. But yeah, other than that, we were playing through it, and there are a couple of things I'm not a fan of, like how you maneuver through the levels. Very much the click-based movement.
Yeah, it's kind of all mouse, the movement.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I wish you would have the same Minecraft movement. Like if you're playing a Minecraft game, you kind of assume you're going to move the same way you do in a Minecraft game. But other than that, yeah, go ahead, Jimbo.
I was just going to say, I understand like your point of view. It's like a third-person view. That's kind of similar in all dungeon type of games, those kind of playthroughs. But yeah, I still think the WASD would be a lot easier to maneuver your character. Yes. Sometimes you can get overwhelmed by enemies, and it's harder to get away with just a mouse controlling your character.
That being said, brings me to the next point. I stink at the game. I died multiple times. Jimbo had to come save me.
Yes.
I am absolutely horrible. Also, the other thing we had a problem with was the fact that we didn't know that you couldn't see the same stuff on the screen. Such as Jimbo would have loot on his screen. He's like, oh, hey, you're having a hard time. You need to come grab this because, Dud sucks. So come grab this armor. And I'm like, there is no armor.
Yeah, that's another thing.
But other than
Sounds
that,
like it's got needs to be worked on still. How far along is it at the moment?
It's in beta. And other than that, though, I had fun playing it, for sure. Once you understood how to maneuver and understood how enchantments work, because it's obviously different than Minecraft, it is a pretty fun game, but you can't go into it thinking, this is a Minecraft game. It's like, no, this is a dungeon crawler made to look like Minecraft.
Yeah. There's different weapons, different armors, different feel.
Yeah, it's a completely different game made to look like a familiar game, and that's what messed me up. But once I understood that, hey, this isn't Minecraft, you got to play it differently, I had a lot of fun, even though I was getting murdered every time I'd like Jimbo would throw a TNT thing. He's like, I got this group of guys, and I'm just like, rah!
He'd run right into the TNT like twice. Like, what? Oh, this guy. Nope.
Well,
I played a little bit before you started playing. I think I was on like level 6 when you started. That's why I was able to help out a little more. Trust me, I've died a couple times, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, the only other large complaint I have is that I would often lose track of my guy whenever I would rush into a pile of guys. So I would think I'm moving a certain way, and I really wasn't, and I just ended up dying.
Especially when we were in the same place.
Right.
I think I was you at one point.
Yeah, and that's a little confusing. Now, that may get better as the game goes along when you start getting more armor and custom stuff like that. But I don't know. When you're into a mosh pit of zombies, it's like, oh, which one am I? You got anything else this week, Jimbo?
No, that was about it. Pretty slow week. What about you?
I got my transportation hub done in my single-player world, which is using command blocks to teleport you. And it worked out perfect for my stream this past weekend, Saturday, which was yesterday. But a long time for you guys just hearing this. Because we went and we found a bunch of different locations I could bring back. So the way my transportation hub works is I wanted to stay out of the nether because we're having a huge nether update. So I only go into the nether if I need to go into the nether. I'm not building anything in there really. That's it. So the way I'm going to get around my world is if I want to go to a location, I have to, on foot, go to that location, find a coordinate, and then come back without dying. If I die, I have to do the trek again. If I can do it without dying, that allows me to save that coordinate, and I can put it into a command block, and then I can teleport myself to that location whenever I need. Also, the transportation hub is not located at my base. It's located on Spawn Island, which is like 400, 500 blocks away. So I then have to travel to that location to teleport myself somewhere. So it doesn't feel super cheaty. But that was a lot of work for kind of... You don't visually see a lot of stuff happening. But when you're traveling thousands of blocks in the overworld, it took a little while.
Yeah, especially if those biomes are so far apart.
Yeah, I've got a lot of desert. Like, a lot of desert. And I didn't realize it. Like, my little peninsula is just surrounded by savanna and deserts. I'm just like, is this my desert? Or is this a different desert? I can't figure it out. But I've also done a lot of landscaping. Because, I'm going to make things look pretty. And then I'm just like, I regret making things look pretty.
Yeah. Very tedious.
I sometimes think it'd be really nice just to make something and hire some guys in just to make it look pretty, because that's the bit which I really, really suck at,
Exactly. Yeah, so my thing is I don't like torches. I don't like torch spam. I know it's a necessary evil, especially early in the game. And I'm trying to make that as little thing as possible. So every time I start building in a new area, I'm landscaping to hide as much light as I can. And so it takes my progress is very slow moving through different locations just because I'm trying to hide all this light. And usually that means, oh, you're going to like terraform this entire 10 by 10 chunk for the next hour to keep this one block from having light level 7.
Yeah, first thing I spam the torches immediately, just so for my safety, spawn proofing, and then I go back through when I do my landscaping to hide all that.
Yeah, well, I've kind of done a B-dubs, and basically I keep a bed on me at all times. And anytime I see the sun setting just a little bit, throw the bed down and I start punching that bed till it lets me sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've started working on the design concept for my next Ripple Effect Season base, which very much can be described as Mega Base, which is something I've never done, which is something I'm very scared of. But it looks so cool.
Nice.
Yeah, let's just say I'm probably going to need... What's this season? Ripple Effect Season 2 lasted, about 2 years? Really close to it?
Wow.
So I probably need all of that to finish this next base.
Wow.
With how slow I build and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my week and such. Nothing crazy spectacular, but a lot of grindy work. Should we go ahead and jump into some snapshots? Because we got 2 to cover this week.
Yeah, and speaking of crazy, we have the Infinity Snapshot, which was introduced on April 1st. There are 2 billion worlds added on this day. You can get to these infinite worlds through a infinite portal, which is a regular nether portal. On the outside, you have the crying obsidian. So there's 2 layers of the obsidian. And they have infinite bookshelves, which you can go ahead and grab a book out of there and throw it into the portal, which changes the color. Depending on what book you get, you can go into one of these 2 billion worlds added. Mm-hmm. Also, they mentioned this was the last update. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's it for Minecraft. Minecraft is done.
Well, that leads a perfect segue to what I'm going to talk about. The next update.
Yeah.
Because, the April Fool's update or the Infinity update was just a prank.
Yeah.
A very cool prank, by the way.
Yeah. Way to take advantage of that on a Wednesday, too. Just happened to fall on a Wednesday. That was perfect.
I didn't really play around in it, though.
I went in a little bit.
I was kind of busy, and to me, the April Fool's updates, I never really play around with because I'm afraid I'm going to find something I really like just for it to be taken out of the game.
That's a good point. Nothing I really like, though.
Yeah, the first thing I fell for was Mumbo Jumbo's Bluestone. I didn't realize that was an April Fool's prank because I was watching the video like in November one year. Okay. And yeah, I went, wait, why is this not in the game yet? This video is like a year old.
Start mining for it. Can't find it.
No. So
hours and hours later, still not finding the stone.
This is rare.
Exactly. I got this lapis crap. What, can I just combine it with redstone and make what I want? Yeah, so April Fool's stuff I try to completely stay away from because I am super gullible and I'll just be like, wait, that's in the game? I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. It took me like 40 seconds to realize what I was watching here. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. I was like, yeah. Then I noticed the date. I said, that makes sense. Well done. Well done, Mojang.
But let's get into the real update because it does have some really cool features. And it's going to be Snapshot 20W14A. Some of the new features: Hoglins that somehow end up in the overworld will become Zoglins fairly quickly. These Zoglins, they kind of get really mean when in the overworld. We'll talk about that more in a second. And then now compasses can be enchanted with Curse of Vanishing. I guess that's more for map makers because to me, why would you want to enchant a compass with Curse of Vanishing? But
you kind of have to do that manually, which wouldn't make too much sense. But
you could do some cool stuff. Well, like maybe you bury treasure somewhere and you put a lodestone under the treasure, enchant the compass with Curse of Vanishing and give it to somebody. Okay. So once they die, that compass disappears or something like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the Zoglins because to me, there are people who weren't much of a fan of this. I like this. So a Zoglin is a zombified Hoglin. So just like the piglins, when they come into the overworld, they turn into zombified piglins. Ziglins.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's right.
I don't think they're calling it that, but we're now calling them that. They are Ziglins.
It's official.
Exactly. So a Zoglin, they get mad just about everything, except for creepers, which I thought was a smart idea by Mojang. Because a Zoglin hitting a creeper and then blowing my build up, I will lose my mind. Mm-hmm. But a Zoglin killing just about everything else is awesome because it's like having a Johnny without having to go find a pillager. So if people don't understand, if you find a pillager, you can rename him Johnny, and basically it kills everything in sight.
Yep, any mob.
Now
I don't know if there's a mob that attacks the Zoglins either. Not that I've seen.
I'm not really sure. I just know I've done a lot of farms with like cows and chickens and stuff like that where I've had a Johnny kill it. It's just a fun way of doing a farm. Now all I have to have is a Zoglin. Makes life a lot easier, except for do they despawn in the overworld like piglins do. But I guess if you name it, you'll be fine then.
Kind of curious if they creep through the portal like the piglins. Like if you're just sitting there and they just come wandering through the portal, turn Zoglin on you and just, you don't see it coming. Hopefully it's not the case.
Problem with that is zombie pigmen can spawn in portals, and that's what causes them to walk through. I know there was a setting on Spigot where you could turn that off, and I always turn that off because I hate pigmen spawning in a portal, especially in the overworld.
Yeah, and now that gold farms are better in the nether, there's no reason to have like the portal gold farms.
Well, I think this is kind of a Bedrock gold farm design feature where people make a bunch of portals, and that's how they do it because you can't get above Bedrock.
Yeah.
Bedrock.
Yeah, I mean, it should work. I think it's an old one that works in Java as well. So the idea is that each portal tile gets ticked every so often, and if it gets ticked at a certain time, it will produce the piglin, or zombie piglin as it's going to be now, down on the bottom bar. So you do get in Java, but you just don't see it because what's the point when you can have a massively OP gold farm already?
Yeah.
Right.
So why do it like with the portals? Because that's a lot of grind to get the obsidian.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah, but I don't think Java has the setting to turn it off. So if anyone wants to make one of those data packs, I will use it and endorse it. I just hate pigmen. They're so annoying. Also, with the Zoglins, you can't breed them or feed them, and they're not scared of warped fungus anymore. They're basically a terror.
Yep.
That's it. We've talked about the fact that they kill everything in sight. I think I'll be using Zoglins as fun farm mechanics.
Now you can't find them in the Nether. They have to come to the overworld, right? There's not like random Zoglins
can
like
you
there
send
are.
them back to the Nether? Just curious now. If you send them back to the Nether, what happens? Do they turn back?
I don't know.
Yeah. Do they go and zombify all the other ones? I don't know.
Science must be done.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Gotta look.
Well, I was just thinking, like, if Zoglins get mad at everything, you could kind of corral how they move, and maybe have pressure plates to control signals and stuff, kind of like chickens and zombies and stuff like that. I don't know why I said chickens, but turtle eggs.
Yeah.
Using turtle eggs to control the way zombies move and stuff, so it could be fun.
That sounds cool.
So the next update for the Snapshot was Strider balancing. A lot of people were complaining about how slow Striders were, and there were a lot of little bugs, like if you rode a Strider up against a solid wall block, well, not a wall block, but a solid block acting like a wall, the Strider would get like super speed, get really fast.
Didn't know that.
That's been fixed, but Strider speed has also been significantly increased, and the fungus on a stick, or fungus on a fishing pole, what it really is, the max damage is now up to 100. It was at like 10, so you'd constantly go through these warped fungus pole sticks thingies. Now it's not that big of a deal, and seeing it in action, Striders move really fast in lava now.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's a... Go ahead.
They said they resemble the boat speed now, which is that's a huge positive.
Yeah, I very much like these Striders over the Nether boat idea.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Now, if you have that warped fungus on a stick and it uses it up, does the whole fishing rod disappear, or just the fungus on the fishing rod?
I can't remember.
I wasn't too sure, because that means the thing's eating the whole fishing rod, and that just doesn't make sense.
It's already made out of string. Maybe that's how it gets the string in its belly.
Good point.
Yeah, that's kind of it for Strider balancing. I didn't see anything over the glitch where you could ride a Strider up a lava waterfall and then walk out of it at the same Y level. So I don't know if that got fixed. I have to assume they saw that and they're fixing it, or have already fixed it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it.
Gru, what is your thoughts on the Striders? Do you like the idea of Striders, or would you prefer the lava boat?
I have to admit, at first I was a little bit put off by them. I thought they looked really, really ugly. But then I sort of thought they kind of fitted in with a lot of the other animals in traditional Minecraft kind of styles. They look really, really derpy. I like the idea of having these animals that you basically stand on their heads and they don't mind. And you're going round with a stick and you're all over the lava. I thought that was like, it looks nice. It's a nice addition. I kind of wanted to have this idea that you could feed them something that would turn into a ghast, and you could ride that round with a stick. I thought that would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be OP though. Can you imagine that? Getting it to fire fireballs wherever you wanted. Be fantastic.
They do look similar. So they're kind of like the cousin of the gas. I could see that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say that you can ride them up lava as well. Is that right? I haven't seen that.
It was in the previous snapshot. You could ride them up the lava waterfalls. Or not waterfalls, but lava falls. But then you could also walk out of them. And you would keep at that Y level, which had to be a glitch. I have to assume that they're wanting you to be able to go up the lava falls, because to me that makes sense. But at the same time, if you're going up a lava fall, wouldn't you get lava on you and you'd catch fire and die?
Yeah, unless you got that netherite armor.
Yeah. Well, it's fun stuff ahead anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's already so much vertical travel coming into the nether with twisty vines and the crimson weeping vines, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I think I call it the weeping.
Yeah, they may just say, nope, no vertical transportation with the Strider.
That'd be sad.
Yeah,
It would be. Especially if you have netherite armor on. I think, of course, I'm to the point where netherite armor should automatically be fireproof. Like, unless you're submerged in lava, you should not take damage being on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should let you see under the lava as well, right? So you can hunt out ores and things.
Yeah.
Or maybe a certain enchantment for it, just specifically for the netherite.
Mm-hmm. Lava
that'd
vision.
be cool.
It'd be like a turtle helmet, but you can make it out of something else. Not turtles, but maybe...
I think they could make it like sunglasses, really, really thick sunglasses, and that's it. Done.
There you go.
You know.
X-ray vision.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm just picturing, like, you can kill a Strider and take a Strider head and enchant it.
Threw a Strider head on.
Anyway, the last update is synchronous writes, and these are region files are now being opened in a synchronous mode to prevent data loss and corruption after crash. I haven't really seen anything too much on this, and well, I don't really crash my world a lot anymore. I used to, but I don't know. I guess that's really nice. I saw a lot of people having chunk problems, but a lot of that were like on the old PlayStation version before they updated to the Bedrock official version and stuff. So I don't know. Any kind of backup and crash corruption preventage, I'm all for.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people had that issue. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's get into listener comments. We have a couple, but we chose one, and then we'll get into the other ones during the main topic discussion. This one is from C3PO, and I chose it because I know the answer to it for once. Why are sounds so loud in Bedrock in comparison to Java? It honestly sounds like everyone is stomping everywhere in hobnail boots. I don't know what a hobnail boot is, but
it must be
it's
loud.
a very loud boot. Yeah,
it must be a loud boot. I'm saying because I know on Bedrock they have like the one volume bar. They don't have what Java has, where it's got like the 9 volume sliders that you can turn around and change everything. Am I correct? You're the Bedrock
I don't know.
guy.
I don't know. I turn the volume down, so I don't notice it.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer for me. Just turn the volume down a wee bit. I don't know, but it does make sense. If it's just got the one volume bar there, it doesn't have a mixer. Yeah, it does make sense that it would be all at one level. But,
I'm the same way. I had someone on stream comment. It was like, "Hey, your game sounds aren't working." It's like, no, I turned my game sounds like off. So, which makes for great content when a creeper sneaks up on you. But
I have to admit, I always play with the sound on, even if it's very low. I don't know. It just adds something to the game. I wonder what everyone else thinks about it out there. I know I prefer it.
I know I'm excited for the ambient sounds they're bringing to the Nether, because I see that as a gateway for Overworld's going to start getting ambient sounds, and that's when I'll probably start cranking my volume back up, is because I thought ambient sounds have been missing from the game for so long. It's like, this should be a thing. Why is it not a thing? When I go to the jungle, I want to hear ambient jungle sounds. When I go to the desert, I don't know, give me some scorching heat sounds. You know, like that weird cricket in the background that's... I forget what they're called, but everyone knows it when it's like sweltering hot outside.
Cicadas.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear some of that sound.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And I'm curious if when they do add the ambient noises with the parity changes, possibly they could add those different volumes, the hostile mobs and the portal volumes and stuff. So that
they could.
They definitely should, because the loud noise complaint, this isn't the first time I've heard it. I hear it from a lot of Bedrock players.
I noticed it when I started playing immediately.
And I think
it's amazing how quickly you get used to these things.
Well, I think just implementing multiple sliders would solve all these problems, because there are some sounds you want to hear and some sounds you just don't want to hear. And I remember my time playing on PlayStation stuff that basically the game music overrode everything, and I couldn't pay attention at all, so I just master volume all the way down. But yeah, that's kind of it for listener comments for now. We're going to get into a few more in the topic. Let's jump into the Discord ad, which is from Rebel JC this week.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Rebel JC, and I would love for you to get involved in our Discord community. Whether it's voting for Block of the Week, sharing your thoughts and opinions on Minecraft, or just chatting with like-minded listeners, the Withering Effect Discord has something for everyone. Join today by following the link in the show notes.
Alright, thank you Rebel JC for the Discord ad. Also, if you're part of our Discord, you can jump in and join in and doing the Block of the Week, which is where we vote on one of 3 blocks to discuss in the next following podcast. This week in our Discord, you voted for weighted pressure plates, pistons, and note blocks.
And the winner this week is... Pistons. Congratulations, Pistons.
It got my vote.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for Pistons.
Yeah.
I love the Block of the Week. So many people are participating in that now. It's really fun.
There's been some close calls too, which has been pretty cool. I got some things on Pistons. Some facts. We got the piston can be crafted with any type of wood. We need 3 types of that plank, 4 cobblestone, 1 iron ingot, and a redstone dust. You can make it sticky by adding a slime ball. This pushes up to 12 blocks, no more. Sticky pistons, are added with slime. Said that. Sorry. There are
Guys,
many
remember,
blocks...
Jimbo has 1 note. He has to put all this on 1 note.
Yeah, this is all 1 note. There are many blocks that can't be pushed, which are called immovable objects. Some can get popped off, like a melon or pumpkin, if they get hit by a piston. And pistons are also transparent. Thought that was notable.
Yes. So now is the point where we try to improve the piston. And I have a couple ideas. I'll run through them one at a time so we can talk about them. And you guys can tell me that's a dumb idea, duds, or that's an awesome idea.
You got it.
So my first is they've added the honey block. So a sticky piston with a honey block will now move entities around, right? That's kind of the new 115 redstone feature per se. So my idea, or one of my ideas, is get rid of the honey block and total, and you should be able to take a bottle of honey and a regular piston and craft them into the honey block piston, or a honey piston, that will move entities without needing the honey block.
Okay. Not bad.
Trying to work out how that would work. How's it moving the entity? That's the question. Is it just like it sits underneath it and it pushes it forward, or
stuff like armor stands? If you do the honey block, it'll move it.
Oh, I got you. Okay, could be useful.
Could be. I honestly haven't found many features useful with that. I just thought you should be able to skip the honey block stage in general and just put it directly on the piston. Don't worry, I got more. There's more.
Yeah.
I count that as a dud. All right, what's yours, Jimbo?
Well, recently I saw a video by Mumbo Jumbo where he was improving things, and he mentioned putting a netherite ingot in a piston instead of a iron ingot and have it push up to 24 blocks.
Ooh,
I thought that would have been...
that.
Yeah, thought that was really interesting. Now, that's not my fix, that's his, but thought I'd bring that up. That's one of my favorite fixes for the piston.
All right. I will take your 24 blocks and raise you a dialable piston. So, just like you have a repeater, how you can move different stages on the repeater for delays, I'm saying you can put a dial on a piston that will only activate the piston when it hits the certain redstone output you've requested. So instead of a piston just activating every time it hits a signal, if you dial it to 3, the redstone power has to be 3 or more before that piston would activate.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like this is a lukewarm response.
I'm sorry.
Just wrapping our heads around it, I think.
Kind of it.
I'm thinking in terms of the input there, you could actually cut off the input with, what's the word? My brain's not very good today. You can do it in redstone like that, but it'd be much bigger, it'd be much neater to have it dialed in, that's true. So that could be very useful for compacting things. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like it.
That's what I'm all about, compacting.
Yeah.
When you get to big redstone, I get confused and lost, and I'm horrible.
Yeah, I'm more of a mechanics kind of person instead of a redstone.
Yeah.
Okay, how about a piston idea? Sorry, I've got one.
Okay, go for
I
it.
just
Go for
jumped straight in there.
Okay.
How about a piston that actually extended more than 1 block? Extended, say, 2 blocks at a time or 3 blocks at a time.
Ooh.
And you could do it with like more iron in there, so you have 3 bits of iron instead of 1, and you get an extension of up to 3 blocks or something.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
It'd be cool.
I could already think of several uses for it, and then how I would just like basically break the game doing it.
Doors would be on another level.
Exactly.
Yeah. You could go big.
The final update I have for pistons is Mojang, use the vanilla tweak textures where you can see the slime on the side of the piston.
Oh my lord, yes. Yes, please.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's kind of every time we update to a new thing and vanilla tweaks updates, it's always the arrow on the observers so I can see which way they're pointing, and the slime piston texture, sticky piston. That's the word I'm looking for. Man, words are hard today. Yeah, but I think that's kind of it for Block of the Week, unless you guys have anything else.
The only thing I'd like to say is best time I like to use the pistons are in a farm, because it's a lot easier to manually or automatically what's the word?
You're failing here, Jimbo.
Yeah, it's we're all on the same page though, you know. But it's easier to crop the crop. Is that the word? I don't know. It's easier to get harvest. Harvest is the word. Jesus. You have to it's easier to harvest the crop by using a piston for.
Oh, you're talking about like sugarcane farms and bamboos.
Exactly. Melons, pumpkins.
Well, I mean, if you want to go that way, my favorite way to use a piston is in the floor design, where you're angling pistons in different directions.
Okay.
But I'd always have somebody come to my base and activate the pistons.
Throw down redstone blocks.
Right, and just totally mess it up. So, yeah, I don't do that anymore. But it's very pretty. It's just a really expensive block to be using for a floor or a ceiling.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get into the main topic, which is obviously GruvaGuy and the parity between Bedrock and Java. So I'll start with our first Discord question. This one came from J-Man, and he's talking about, are there any major differences between Bedrock and Java, and how close are Bedrock and Java in parity?
Okay, are there any major differences? Yeah, really major differences, but also there's no difference. If you're just playing a basic game and you're running around doing the adventure thing, which is kind of how the game's designed, you won't feel the difference at all. You go kill the mobs, you collect the things, you put them in chests, no problem. But in terms of the mechanics of the game, like you're talking about farms a few seconds ago, basically redesign the farms from scratch for Bedrock. It's almost certainly not going to work in the same way, like down to mob spawning. Massively different. I think you said earlier you've been around and trying to find mobs on Bedrock is a little bit difficult, and that's one of the major differences. It is really difficult to find mobs on Bedrock.
Yeah, we had talked about this on the last podcast, where the next Bedrock update, or their Nether update per se, they're changing mob spawning, because they had like a cap for cave mobs and then a cap for overworld mobs, and they wouldn't despawn unless they were above light level 8. So basically the underworld was just filled with mobs, and it was affecting capped mobs in the overworld. I don't know. Basically they reworked mob spawning for the next update.
I did a video on this, and it was a while ago now. It was a long time ago, and it was all about the surface cap, the cave cap, how it's affecting each other, and the problems that it causes. And yeah, the mob despawning is a massive problem in Bedrock. Because of that, you don't tend to find mobs, but they're kind of dealing with that now. In the next update, there's going to be a despawn sphere, very similar to Java. The difference is in Java there's a despawn sphere of around about 120 blocks. I think it's 128 blocks. Yeah, things will despawn instantly. In Bedrock it's going to be 54. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a problem as well. it's a little bit too tight, but it's the right direction. Currently it's a cylinder. So there's a despawn. Well, there's not even a despawn cylinder. There's just a ticking area. It's really complicated, and it's really different to Java. So, like you build your witch farm or something, you AFK way up in the air just to try and get the spawns just on your spawning platform and get them to die just below there, and you're not loading anything else in. It does not work like that in Bedrock. Witch farms have got one spawning location in the farm, and it's always in the same space, and that is a place where the witch will always spawn. So you can imagine that makes farms really easy to design. in that way
Yeah.
because you know it's always going to be there. So you just put your drop chute right on that point, give it something solid to stand on and a way to detect it when it arrives. Bang, drop it straight away.
Yeah.
But the spawn rates are slow because the entire area is loaded. And like I said, I could fill up like 20 minutes on this, but I won't. I'll stop right there. Yeah, it's complicated.
The stuff you're going over is stuff we saw on the last podcast because a lot of people have been requesting, like, hey, talk more about Bedrock because we do have a lot of Bedrock listeners. But me and Jimbo are not Bedrock players. We don't ever even try to pretend to be, except for Jimbo this week. Jimbo pretended to be a Bedrock player this week.
Yeah, didn't go too well.
But yeah, so it's great we have you on the show because this is one of the topics that people have really been requesting. So now we have someone who knows what's going on.
Right. I know a bit. Nobody knows what's going on in Bedrock, really.
Especially with them loud boots. No one knows what's going on there.
Yeah.
Drowns out your thoughts.
I have a question here.
Yeah, go for it.
As a player on a PC, what made you choose Bedrock over Java?
Okay, so in Java, I was a bit of a technical player. I would play the mechanics in the redstone, and I felt like everything in Java had been discovered. Everyone's already out there. As soon as the snapshot comes out, somebody's already dug the code. They already know the exact spawning algorithm for the new mob. They understand it 100%. And I heard about this Bedrock game, which basically nobody could see the code for. Nobody had looked into. Nobody had tested anything. And that was, it's about 3-4 years ago now or something. And I thought that sounds like the game for me because it's a completely new discovery. Every inch of the way. It's changed a little bit now, of course, because the technical game has got a lot better. But when I was playing for the first time, a lot of these things hadn't been worked out. So that was the real driver for me. And I really wanted to design an amazing iron farm for Bedrock because they had nothing. It was terrible. So that was something I kind of got me into it.
Yeah, I think iron farms is how I found you to start with. A couple of years ago, I built one of your iron farms. We talked about this. I was telling Jimbo about it because it's a farm we built on our Comicraft server and didn't work.
Sorry.
No, we turned it down because we had Spigot at the time and we didn't understand Spigot was just so much different than even just normal vanilla Java. And that's why the farm wasn't working, is because we were being dumb and we chose a farm that didn't work with Spigot because, craziness. And we ended up having to cheat the farm to work. I say cheat. We rebuilt this thing multiple times. And at this point, we were like, okay, technically we did everything right. We're being stupid. Command block time.
It's a fair way to go with Spigot sometimes.
It really is.
It's not you guys being dumb. It's Spigot being dumb. I'll say it's being dumb. It's trying to optimize everything down to the absolute minimum so you can get hundreds of people onto one server. So it tries to just trim everything down, which means that farms like iron farms, the big ones, the redstone ones, just don't really work. Too many things got trimmed, which is a shame.
And I will say, that being said, our Spigot server never crashed, never felt lag, unless Jimbo was running his Guardian farm. Jimbo's Guardian farm was I
was relatively new at the time, so...
Yeah.
He was like, you got to turn it off. I'd go in and I'd just rip out all the redstone because I didn't have an off button, so I just like rip apart the redstone. I'm like, okay, it's off.
But
I know a little bit more now.
Spigot's an awesome thing for, I think, just normal people wanting to run a server with a bunch of friends and wanting a problem. But yeah, if you're a technical player,
yeah. It's like you say, it's great for running those really big servers with lots of people on who just want to do the adventuring in the building. It's fantastic, and it's great access for everyone. Technically, really though, not so good.
Yeah. But speaking of iron farms, Jimbo, you have another question about that.
Yes, I do want it known that Gruva did create the Iron Beast, and it's actually really popular in the Minecraft community. And I want to ask, how do you feel about the new Iron Golem spawning mechanics? And is there anything you would like to change?
Right. I'm going to come clean. I haven't looked at the new Iron Golem spawning mechanics that closely. When it first came out, I had a look at it and I thought, this kind of looks boring to me. So I'm just going to leave it and see if anybody comes up with anything interesting and maybe get into it then. And so far for me, nobody's really come up with anything interesting. The iron farms are really, really useful, but the thing that I got the kick out of them for was the amount of different things that you had to get right to make them work in a certain way and to trick the game into doing this amazing thing, which was essentially piling, let's say, 64 villages right on top of each other and then producing 64 times the amount of iron that you would have had. Whereas now I just don't feel that. It's like, well, just keep going, just more villagers, a couple of zombies, and you're probably fine. So it doesn't really do it for me yet. Something might come up.
It's less of a puzzle now, it's kind of cut and dry.
As someone who cannot build iron farms, obviously from past experiences, I have built 2 successful iron farms since 1.14. That shows how much easier it is.
It's great. It's access for everyone, and I think that's the best thing. Everyone needs access to the materials they need, so that's a good thing. For people like me, it's a little bit of a step back because, like I say, the timings for the old man, I could get really into this. The timings were so tight, and there were the things that you really worked on to just slim down the reset times and improve everything. But yeah, that's just me being a geek, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fun part is the puzzle, putting together the puzzle. And now that the puzzle went from a 2,000-piece puzzle to 4.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be, in my mind, a 2,000-piece, 4-dimensional puzzle, and now it's kind of 2-dimensional, a few hundred pieces.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can do a couple 1,000-piece puzzle, but 3D, different story.
Yeah.
Jimbo, I'm going to let you ask another question because my next question falls on your question.
Got it. I'd like to ask, what is your favorite feature of Bedrock? That's all right. Name your favorite feature that is in Bedrock than it is in Java.
Okay. The best thing about Bedrock, in terms of features, well, I could go straight for an obvious one, which is the cross-player compatibility. So you're basically talking about all of these different devices, hundreds of different devices, phones of every ilk and shade, which can be used to play on the same server with the same people, consoles, PCs, the whole thing. It just works across everything, so everyone can get together and play in one world and contribute to it, and I think that's a great thing. That's why it's called the Better Together update originally, wasn't it? So it became sort of Bedrock because that was the engine that runs it, but Better Together is exactly what it is. I mean, I play with people who play on all sorts of platforms, and that's great. Another great thing about Bedrock is you can farm Bedrock itself. You can actually get the drops, the block, and use it in game, which is ridiculous. And I love the ridiculous. It's like with
so
cages.
Awesome.
Yeah, can you think of how you could grief people?
Oh man.
Well, I was just immediately thinking of the overworld Wither Rose farm, so you don't have to take advantage of a portal in the end. You can actually have it in your overworld, and that'd
just
be
build
so
it
cool.
a couple of meters from your base, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cool feature. So Bedrock, people say it's very broken. It is, but in a cool way. So you can get Bedrock blocks itself and portal tiles and water in the Nether. Lots of silly things, which are just great fun.
Oh man, one of my favorite features was how you can place a block in front of you. You don't have to crouch and place it on the side of a block. You can easily just place the block in front of you to scaffold or whatever you like to do.
Yeah, that's crazy. I still haven't got used to that. I still do I've got my pinky on the shift key and I'm going backwards really slowly, but I've seen people just run full tilt ahead, building a bridge as they go. It's amazing.
Brave.
What?
Yeah, very brave.
Yep.
Straight over the void.
Yep. You can just run straight on, look down, and place a block right in front of you. You don't have to place it on the side of a block.
You could do this.
Pretty
Block
cool.
placement's quite cool as well, because like if you're playing in creative and you're flying along, you're trying to run a load of blocks together. Bedrock, you can just run them. They fall one after another. If you're doing the same thing in Java and you're going full tilt, you'll end up having gaps in the bridge that you're building or whatever you're flying through to do. So I really like that. It's crazy. It's nice like that.
That was the first thing I noticed because I was mainly a creative player when I was playing on PlayStation. And the way you fly is completely different because, like, on the PlayStation version, you would fly, and as soon as you let go of the movement button, you stopped. That was it. On Java, when you move around, the second you let go of your movement button, like you slide 3 to 4 blocks. I was like, why does it do that? It makes no sense to me.
You adjust to it all very quickly, but both of those.
But to go opposite of Jimbo, if you could take any Java feature and move it over to Bedrock, what would it be?
Wow. Okay, as a technical player, again, there's a lot of things which people have designed for Java, which help you understand what's going on. There's lots of extra things. Okay, first one I would take is the F3 screen. That's my number one pick. F3, fantastic. You can sort of pick up your FPS, you can work out what you're looking at, you can do lots and lots of things on the F3 screen. Just doesn't exist in Bedrock. Up until recently, coordinates were considered a cheat in Bedrock, so they're automatically switched off. So that got turned around probably a year or two ago now. But even finding chunk boundaries. In Java, you can find chunk boundaries really easily. You press F3 and something. I can't remember what now. It's been so long. There you go. Boundary B makes sense. But in Bedrock, you have to do lots of manual working it out calculations, or you have to know a few tricks. It's nice to have that F3 sort of feature. Oh gosh, and durability on tools. I miss that so much. They're the things I miss. It's quite a bit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, never thought about this kind of stuff. It's kind of like taking it for granted, because it's like, oh, well, I go through the F3 screen at least 7 or 8 times in an episode.
Yeah. I mean, how do you do? I don't know. Find the north, south, east, and west. You just go to F3 and you know which way you're facing.
Well, I'm thinking
or
about
the light level.
Yeah, light level.
Light levels was what I was going to ask. How do you find it?
Yeah. You kind of don't know. You have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is count the blocks, or you can get a texture pack which will show you these low light levels, but then that kind of feels a bit cheaty.
Yeah.
So you just have to know how many blocks you are from your light source and to your next one, and just be very diligent.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, without coordinates, my whole transportation hub would just get so much harder.
I mean, most servers or most places have coordinates turned on by default now, because they're not considered a cheat, which is fine. But yeah, without coordinates before, it was very difficult.
Would you need like a map pretty much to find your way around?
Yeah, I mean, it depends the kind of player that you are. I'm quite a technical player, so I used a few tricks to work out what my coordinates were. So there was some visual glitches which sort of made things point towards where 00 was. And from 00, you could find where your chunk boundaries were and start calculating things out from there. But yeah, really difficult stuff. I mean, you'd go walk and you'd lose your base, and that's it. It's gone forever. That's it.
Yeah. A lot of math involved, sounds like.
Yeah, but I like that kind of thing.
One of the last questions I wanted to ask you about is the marketplace, because obviously that's another huge difference between Bedrock and Java players. Most of everything for Java is free. You just got to download it and install it yourself. With the marketplace, is there anything about the marketplace you really like, or are you wishing it was more like Java, where you just go out on the internet, find it, and install it?
Well, yeah, the simplicity of the marketplace is fantastic. You click one button, it's done. I mean, it does come with issues, don't get me wrong, there's definitely issues with Marketplace, but the simplicity of actually just saying, oh, I want to do that, that's great, off we go, and you buy it and it's done. There is the cost, which is a bit of a downside to me, but then I also see friends of mine who became map makers for Bedrock who are making a living from doing that, which is kind of instantaneous. They're selling directly to someone. You have to go through the partnership scheme, but they're selling that. They're making real money from being a map maker. And I think that's great, because a lot of people put a lot of time into Minecraft and a lot of time into the mods. So it's nice to see those people get what they deserve in terms of reimbursement.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's positive generally. I think the thing that I would like to see coming along in the future, which is kind of going to bring Bedrock a little bit closer to Java, is the API. So in Java, you modify the jar file directly to mod it, and then you kind of just bolt it back on. Whereas with Bedrock, they're going to have to do it through an API. So that'll be really interesting. When that comes along, there'll be some really fast, really fantastic mods happening that can modify anything and everything. But they've been promising that since I've been playing Bedrock, and that's a few years. So we'll see if it ever comes.
As far as I can tell, this is the closest parity, though, the two versions have ever been. So hopefully it gets smaller and smaller to the point where maybe one day we're all playing the same game and it interacts really well. Who knows?
I think, if I'm honest, Java and Bedrock, they'll never cross over in that way. There's some fundamental differences. Like Java's got quasi-connectivity. The Bedrock community is dead against that because it makes Redstone kind of difficult to understand. But in the opposite direction, Bedrock Redstone is completely random in terms of the update order. So if you have two pistons that are powered at exactly the same time, a different one could fire first each time, which makes some things really difficult in terms of the timings for like building doors and things. So you kind of have to force the timings. So I think in terms of that, that's a really, really fundamental difference that we'll never quite get past, I think. I'd love to be proved wrong, but we'll see.
For me, I think the big boundary that I would have for the two versions is obviously world size, because Bedrock has a relatively small limit when you compare to Java. Java has a limit, but it's like millions and billions of blocks or something crazy like that. 6 billion, I think it was. World size limit, whereas Bedrock is much smaller. I think it's in the thousands, if I'm right or wrong.
I think that's an old bit of information there. It changed.
Okay.
So now Bedrock is pretty much the same size as Java, I think. I can't remember whether it's in 32. I think it's in a 32-bit sort of size format, so that should give us an idea of the size of the map. I can't remember how big, but it is very, very comparable to Java now. It used to be tiny, really, really tiny. But again, that changed. Everything's getting closer and closer.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you should try it sometime.
Yeah.
I think I can still redeem the free Bedrock version that Java players got. I just haven't because I never played Java, so it's like, I don't know, maybe I should go ahead and at least redeem it so I have it and I can switch over every once in a while and try it.
Yeah, just have a poke around with it. I think it's fun to play with.
But other than that, Jimbo, do you have any more questions?
No, I did want to mention that it seemed like the rendering on Bedrock was way better than Java. It seemed like so many more chunks were loaded in a faster amount of time than if I would do on Java.
Yeah, I mean, because it's got to play on pretty old mobile devices now, and they don't get rid of old devices from the list of things that is playable on either. They tend to keep them in there. They've only written off about 2 or 3 devices. They have to just be really, really slick with it, and the rendering is pretty good. I can attest to that. I do like it.
Yeah, that's all we got. Jimbo, you want to go ahead and read us out?
Sure. If you like the show, you can share it with all of your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us. Or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps out the show and reach more listeners. If you would like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@rippleeffectsmp.com, tweet us, leave a voice message, or join our Discord, where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All the links are in the show notes.
Yeah, this show has been brought to you by Jimbo and myself, but let's also give a huge thank you to GruvaGuy.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me along. It's been great.
Thank you. Also, let's not forget about our digital producer, Carl. He helps make sure the show ends up where it should be. The amazing music you hear in the intro and outro is by the one and only Decoy. Everybody's social media links, websites, all that can be found in the show notes. And like always, guys, thank you so much. You guys have been awesome. We're breaking viewing records for us now, which is crazy. Like, we're closing in on 15,000 listens, I think.
Wow.
So this is awesome. You guys have been awesome. But yeah, thanks for getting withered with us. Go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.